It's the last game of the day, week 9, day 1. We're about to be over with the regular split. Oh, okay, something is happening in the desk. I'm kind of afraid as we are.
Know what you did, Jeppe.
Oh.
I wanted to join the club.
I love it. I love it. Punish the player. Punish. Okay.
Punish the sinners.
Riddle versus Astralis. For Astralis, it doesn't mean a lot. For Riddle, though, if they lose this one, they're locked in as the last seed in playoffs.
I think they're locked in anyway.
If they win 2 games, they're not. But have to win 2 games in a row. Oh, look at this. Champion Summit.
I'm pretty sure Riddle is locked in because none of the other teams can reach.
They are locked in.
Oh, okay.
But as the last seed, if they don't win this one, they'll be locked in.
Sorry, I completely burned my brain cells in the vanilla game. They're gone.
It was an exciting game. For those of you who didn't watch it, you can rewatch it after we're done with this live. So far, Nidalee is banned. Who would have thought? Alongside Diana and LeBlanc. So 3 APs being removed. The other side, they're going to take 2 AD carries, leaving Aphelios open. And Caitlyn is still available as well.
Caitlyn's still available, yeah. So banning Jinx right there, you know that you're handshaking Aphelios and Caitlyn, and it depends on which one would you prefer to pick. I think going for the Caitlyn, leaving the Caitlyn open right here, you sort of... It's difficult because she has so many good pairings on whatever she wants to play. We've seen her with Tam Kent, we've seen her with the enchanters like a Lulu, a Karma, a Lux. It's very oppressive in the lane as well. And on the other hand, actually, Astralis is getting Biss. Best in slot for every WoW player out there. They're getting Biss on every single one of their players. Taxa on Lee Sin, huge on that champion. You get Chris back onto Aphelios. He's had one of the most fantastic appearances that he has had this split onto the Aphelios as well. So far, Biss for the side of Astralis, and on the other side for Riddle, they've got pretty good backline access.
I never heard about that, the Biss. So
Wendell also on Thresh. This is Biss. This is it's.
This is a new one for me. I'm always learning.
So really quick side note right here in Astralis. I was showing a picture to Asram of a boss in Warcraft, and he was like, "Oh, I thought this was also a TFT carousel." Like, it's not a TFT carousel, man.
I didn't play last patch, so I have no idea what is happening. Now, looking at this, another Renata. I didn't think this would be a Renata bot lane because you have the Karma, just as you told us, the Lux as well. Really good pair, or even the Tom Kench versus the Aphelios, but obviously Thresh is going to save him. Renata, though, what is your saying in that?
I like it quite more into the Thresh than I like it into the Nautilus. I find it really deadly. Like, if you get caught into the Nautilus CC, it's much more deadly. I think Renata with Caitlyn is going to be really cool because we can see that you can reposition somebody. Once you root them, you reposition them onto the trap, and then you have the double headshot coming in as well. It's a really cool trick. It's pretty much an easier Lux/Morgana binding, if you will, because it's like the Caitlyn doesn't have to follow up. She just puts down the trap, and then you try to match the Caitlyn.
Mama, send him away. There we go. That is a nice one. That is a nice one. Okay, instant pick on the Gnar for Kekt, which allows Carlson to counterpick.
This is one of my favorite blind picks ever because I find that Gnar is not very easily counterable. I think the only thing that can counter him, really hard counter him, is Camille and Aurelia, and they've both been banned away on the second rotation of the bans. I think he gets a pretty free laning phase. He can go Hull Breaker. He can completely ignore the item if he wishes to and go to Thunder, even Trinity Force. I think Trinity Force is better than Thunder, by the way, but both are pretty viable anyway.
Oh, is this a Silas top? It is really
or
easy.
Ryze top lane, actually.
What do you think?
I would say, okay, so it depends what Riddle is going to choose to pick here, because I feel like Ryze is pretty good into Gnar because you get to perma-shove him as well. But then Silas is pretty okay into Gnar as well, especially when Gnar is playing melee on you. You've got ways to sort of evade the stun and then be able to trade back on him. Now, looking at the Syndra, the Ryze, when Sahiro was playing it into Tempt, he really suffered on the Ryze. But then you also get a bunch of priority in the mid lane by pushing in the wave, even if it's shoved underneath your tower. So yeah, I'm thinking that this is probably Carlson top onto the Salas. It makes more sense. And also when you get in ganked, you get to keep the Mega Gnar, the Gnar ultimate, and sort of shove the Hecarim away after 6.
And also, this is the first time that we see Silas able to steal away Renata's ulti. So if she ultis, you can ult them back.
Renata ultimates, Half-Life 3
nobody knows.
confirmed?
It's completely confusion. Can you imagine everybody's attacking everybody just because?
I'm already confused from the Manir game. It doesn't get worse.
It makes sense. It
Yeah.
was a chaotic one, but it was a beautiful one. But
You know who else is beautiful?
tell me.
Our casters.
They are. They actually are. They're a really good pair. They're brothers as well. You want to meet it? Let's meet Initialize and Nymeta. Look at them.
Oh.
Look at this.
That's
I like this.
That's remarkably nice. There you go. Oh, look at that. Gotcha. You know, that was pretty smooth. All right. Well, there's actually people being nice to me on cast. This is a
I'm
new.
gonna say, like, we've gone through our quota of nice things to say. We are gonna be such nasty words, nasty people.
Nasty people.
So you're like,
Very
what can I say?
ruthless, stern casters will have no fun and be very
So,
serious.
but speaking of things which are not fun at all and
Not fun at
cold, analytical facts, we have a Silas top. Now,
We do.
there was a Silas top played in the LPL the other day. I'm
yes.
trying to remember which team it was.
I remember you going hunting for the game store. I couldn't quite remember which one
Yeah,
it was
I'm
either myself.
trying to remember if it was...
Orcs, if you're watching.
No, you see,
Drop
I
us a
was,
message.
the thing is,
Tell
I
us
was
what's going
watching
on.
this with the Sheen over the weekend. I was like, yeah, he's the only
Sheen.
person playing this in the world. I'm trying to remember if it was actually Showbang, maybe. You know what? This is the kind of thing which I need to look up, and I was hastily looking up.
So,
but,
is that EDG's top laner? Like,
yes.
maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember correctly. Don't ignore
Ignore all of that.
slightly
Anyway, so the
inaccurate
point
rambling.
is, effectively, there has...
Dear Sothos, you heard his call last week. It left us all very...
breadcrumbs.
Oh,
What noise has he brought to us today?
the call of the Thorswatch is not gentle on the ears of its listeners. Truly, a deadliest piece on the rift.
Take a sanity point of damage.
That's it. I feel like there should be like, it's like, you know, you imagine like David Attenborough hunting through the wilderness of Summoner's Rift, only to
Yeah,
come
we'll
across this
see.
deadly beast.
The elder god Sothon, wandering in its local domain in the Bod River.
The Amazon River is only half as wide as this truly extraordinary watercourse. Wherein it lies true danger. How extraordinary.
That's actually really good.
Thank you.
If you ever wonder what we practice in our spare time, it's actually not.
It's various impressions of
actually not
accents
how
of
to,
people.
like, it's not like, oh, how do I keep a narrative running through
Nope.
a cast? What am I doing in terms of my expectations?
that.
It's literally just how do I pull off a David?
Yeah, how do I do a David Attenborough impression?
Anyway, so the very last thing, of course, I obviously cast him on that Silas. The important thing to cap this thing off about the LPL is that both of these games were Silas and Sinar. Because you can have side lane thread onto that. You obviously get to steal the ultimate from the Natu. Not only that, in this game, Hecarimult is one of the best stolen Silas ults you can have because it's ridiculous AP scaling.
I'm just saying, Hecarimult is great, but you can also steal Hostile Takeover.
True. I mean, I actually not sure. I mean, so the thing about that is that
You could have double Berserk where everybody's just turned into a wild rift and like of murdering each other. It becomes a mobile game out of nowhere.
Battle Royale, baby. I mean, it's just, yes, you can turn
Only
them-
the strong will survive.
You ever hate your teammates that much after your scrims? Turn on them now.
We're just going to point this out as well. Remember, the Hostile Takeover Berserk only means you prioritize your own teammates. You still attack enemies
As long
afterwards.
as there's nothing else around.
Just changes the priority list in what you attack first. It's kind of like a really aggro taunt.
So this is something which Des was talking about. So Drop saying, actually prefer the Renata into the Thresh. I very much agree with this too, because effectively think of it as Nautilus is very good into enchants on the whole because he can fight you from level 1. If you get bush control, things get very dangerous. Now Thresh can with a lucky hook, but it's not quite the same. You don't have the follow-up route afterwards and stuff like that. So
Not on your passive. It's on your second level.
yeah, all of that stuff. So level 2, Thresh is more than happy to start engaging onto these longer ranged lanes, but a lot of the damage is already done by that point. You can see that they are being pushed in, lost a little bit of HP, and now Bastion and Nukes control this lane. They haven't had it wrangled away from them like we saw the Singularity bot lane have to in that last game versus the Nautilus, as we said, which is a bit of a more opportunistic matchup.
I also want to see how doable the combo of Fat Jam putting down a Caitlyn trap, one of those cupcakes,
Right.
and
Oh,
then
drag them onto
you
it.
get the handshake to drag it onto the trap.
That's true. That's actually really nasty.
That could be quite good fun.
Could be a bit of a Blue Peter experience. Like, here's a trap I prepared earlier. As looks like Kras is setting up one of the more metaphorical means in the mid lane, potentially trying to see if there was an angle for Tax to come in.
So, into this matchup out of interest.
Yes.
As I know you played a certain amount of Syndra back in the day as
I
Taxa.
do, yeah.
Look,
Okay,
maybe
I play
looking
with
for
Electrocute all the time because I like to burst people.
I had a feeling you might. But then again, we know your thoughts on things like
Damage!
As
Look,
Kex might be
damage!
experiencing some damage, hops away, trying to buy some space, but no one's taken tower aggro yet. Flashes back under tower, flash forward from Taxa, trying to get the kill, but he's going to take another tower shot. Surely he's dead. The Triumph is not enough, and Taxa falls down.
So Kex gets a return kill. You do get XP for solo
Double
kills.
flashes as well.
And actually, because you do get quite a lot of XP for solo kills. Kex is going to be able to teleport back in to get some of that wave, but First Blood, of course, going over the side of Taxa first. Actually, interesting how that's going to work out in the grand scheme of things, particularly with that only partial wave being used. But as you were saying, yeah, Taxa not able to get out from that play, and Taxa, as much as he has a reputation on this champion to make plays happen early, not quite as clean as they would have liked that.
Absolutely not. And of course, now I've got this chance again. I'm looking at that Syndra matchup in mid. As actually, never mind that. There's a massive engaging bot side as Taxa came out of absolutely nowhere. That was insane.
Okay, we
it was
talked about the top lane play.
landed into Sonic Wave. I think that was insane stuff to cover the like half a screen of distance.
So Nuke's not even being able to flash during that play. So we're
What
gonna
on
go
earth?
with a replay of this one. Yep. Flash on it.
Oh, that's what it was.
That is
a
a-
flash to keep the redirect through. Great
I mean,
stuff from Wendell.
The only way you get away with that play is by just knowing the jungle is coming to your lane. And they didn't have the jungle tracking as much as they knew he had been on that top side. And Riddle, yeah,
There's
just
even
kind
any
of
room to bait it. I think because like literally Taxa came out of lane as that was like
Yeah, but
straight
you have to
from
be
reset.
headed to your lane first.
Yeah.
And just be aware that, oh, the lane's in a bad spot. But of course, they weren't in a position to do that. And they fell down.
Will cost Taxa a lot of his blue side jungle in trade, of course, because he was spotted in terms of where he went. They knew there was some respawn camps on the other side. So it does come at a certain cost there. But Slowq going to be trying to trade out as Taxa all over the place in
everywhere.
this game. Where has this early aggression been from Taxa on this champion over the earlier weeks when they were still in playoff contention? We were lamenting his passivity, his lack of playmaking. And this game, he's been doing everything
Wendell
he
is
needs to.
just here.
As Wendell is topside as well. Both players for Astralis putting Riddle in a very big early deficit
And
here.
Astralis, this team, need we remind you, is out of playoffs. Riddle are looking likely at least to be on the bottom side of the playoffs, the bottom end of it, just locking in that 6th spot, potentially able to contest for higher spots with Dusty and Veneer, and they will have to find some leads somewhere, potentially catching Crispberg, but not with this.
Will not land the handshake or the loyalty program. Chris Bird wants not to sign up to that particular newsletter, decides against the spam mail and backs away.
So just to confirm as well, it was actually EDG that was playing the
you go.
Silas top, and they played it versus BLG.
Okay.
just on the weekend.
That's quite a big win.
They did, of
Big
course,
game,
play
that.
the Silas top both times. And so that Silas top is just something that's fallen out of the meta quite a long time at this point. However, now you see the kill come down, the assist come down. I'm really interested to see what Carlson could do. Carlson with a lead on carry champions this split has been a revelation. First time, of course, on this champion, as we were so surprised to see it. As Taxa, Lee Sin might have a blindfold, might be blind, but does spot out that ward. And able to play around this bot side as the bot lane's pushing in, potentially looking towards a dragon angle.
Absolutely, and worth indeed keeping our eyes on. I had something and it's blanks. Never mind. I was saying keep your eyes on something. I'll leave it as a mystery because I can't remember either.
SoftBank Hawks because they have blank as well.
They do. Though that was an
team
LJL
nowadays.
reference I wasn't
Oh
expecting.
no, I've gone over my quota.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, yes, the
Ooh,
woman T1
good.
player is on the Hawks over in the LJL as the Fire trying to get hooked. Took a fair chunk there in trade. Not too much more to write home about right now, aside from the cleanse being down, but this is not a Caitlyn that's managed to dominate the
No.
lane, which is potentially a risk.
So, what does that mean, though? Because normally you expect Caitlyn and Syndra to really get advantages in their laning phase. Of course, Syndra versus Ryze is somewhat of a skill match. If you hit your Syndra Qs, you expect good things. If not, anyway, that's kind of beyond that point where it's more relevant at this point. Now we start to look at what can happen beyond this. Root not going to be
Right.
pulled through by Cress onto Slowq. And now, okay, we have a Hecarim on one side, we've got a Renata on that same team. This is going to be a battle of dive and counter dive, but then when you do have the Silas who loves the flank angles, you've got a Realm Warp to set that up. Lee Sin obviously wanting to do that too. I look at what the Mega Gnar, potentially the Scatter of the Week, and then the Hostile Takeover can do for Riddle. If Astralis do not use their creative tools well to make sure that all of the disengage tools can be used optimally, or rather, not optimally as they would be looking to achieve with that, I think Astralis are going to be in trouble because there's too much for them to really contend with in the disengage front. However, with the early game that they've had and some gold going on to some important members, I think they're going to be able to make Riddle sweat a little bit. And this playoffs team wanting to put the best foot forward, looking like they're in for a dangerous game.
Absolutely, and a reminder here, now that I remember what I want to talk about was, was that Riddle can still start trying to play for higher than a 6th place finish for playoffs. They need to win this game, and they need to win the game on Wednesday versus, I think it's JDXL they'll be playing on that one, which will be a big, big game there as well. But they are going to need Dusty and Veneer to probably drop games. Veneer in particular have a 0-2 head-to-head against Riddle. So if Veneer drop on the Wednesday and Riddle win today and on Wednesday, they can still push up the standings, but this is not a good start to that in this game.
Riddle must win both their games to have a chance, and at least Veneer must lose their remaining game. Now, of course, if Dusty also loses the remaining game, we get three-way weird stuff happening with that.
Exciting.
And we'll, you know what, we'll work that out if and when that happens. But Riddle, of course, that's the stakes for them. Astralis looking to play spoiler, and they have actually had a good crack at that in this early game. Taxa in particular has really come up and been counted for. However, Astralis have had good early games before, and they've struggled in the mid-game. They've went through a couple of iterations of either struggling in the mid-game and doing well early, or just kind of the opposite, where their early game was so dire, but their mid-game was looking okay, just they had to deal with the deficits after that point. Either way, let's see if they've fixed some of those holes in the hull. See if they can get this ship at least a
little bit more right.
Bit of a good last voyage in this split.
Yeah, a bit more seaworthy, if you will. And Taxa with the early herald, with the early kills, with the early proactivity. Again, I remind you, this guy is someone we have lamented. We have complained about his lack of proactivity. This is exactly what I want to see. Wraparounds in mid from Wendell, Chrisberg, and Taxa. That is such a dead Sahira. Oh, right, sorry. Slow queue. I need to say Sahira, but Veneer have already played, and they're looking on in delight here as Riddle may well be falling further away from contesting them in this series.
Hey, mid, can you play safe? What do you do against that? It's
Flash early, I suppose.
It's the double wraparound. You can see actually the bot lane walked over Vision to get there. MC was on their way. It's just timings didn't quite work out. He was stood between his two towers, and Taxa just kind of wins the battle of the reaction timing, and Slowku can't flash out. Gets CC'd into full 100-0.
Dragon Rage definitely does its due work there in the mid lane. Kex getting rooted up as the Mega Gnar ends. Cress over the wall could maybe look for a root. Landing the overload would be a good start, but they decide against it right now. MC's going to come around, and the gold lead continue to expand right now for Astralis, who've managed to push it up to about 2,000 here in the early game, doing very well right now.
You know what? This is actually got to feel pretty good for Carlson, because for those of you that didn't watch the first matchup between these two teams, Kex
It was brutal.
Ruined Carlson.
It was just disgusting.
Renekton versus Set, and it was something like a 5-kill Renekton Carlson put absolutely into the dumpster. But this time, you know, Carlson, while they have that CS deficit, very happy with the matchup, pushing down some plates. Kex maybe not achieving as much to keep this carry down, and if Silas gets rolling in this game, Riddle are not very happy. So yeah, I think actually compared to their first matchup, which was of course a number of weeks ago at this point, Astralis getting themselves much more firmly on the board.
Perhaps a little too late though for this squad. Now the pressure is off the playoffs. Suddenly they look a little bit more coherent, a little bit more proactive. And Riddle, still not out of this game, still pretty happy with the scaling options they've got. Renata, Hecarim, Caitlyn as well. Once you hit about 3 items, very dangerous champions in their own right. But they haven't been able to make too much use of their early spikes. The Hecarim not really pulled off an ultimate yet that I've seen either. And that could come back to bite them as yet as well. They've got an early dragon. I don't think they're really going to be in a position to contest right now as the river control being dealt with by Astralis. Wendell stepping through to clear out as much as he can ahead of these Drakes.
And you actually, you know, you look at these mid laners, or at least I do, because I am a mid laner. What a surprise how I do that. But we are getting to the point where they have teleports. It's coming up to 14 minutes, and they're champions which want to start getting evolved once they get that first item, they get that second item. And gonna have to see how the teams will then react to making plays with the extra global coming out in force. Slow queue, once again forced back under that tower, and this bit time being a lot more respectful.
Yes, he is, and one wraparound gank was enough for this play. He wants nothing to do with any more of these. First turret does get destroyed in mid lane. That expands the gold lead even further. And Riddle, I haven't seen them pull off anything proactive pretty much this entire game, it feels like.
Well, this is kind of the problem with having Syndra having to be forced to play it back. The Silas getting early help to swing the matchup around, and then having a Hecarim who needs to play off of some winning lanes. Of course, Hecarim early into the game can't fly. Once you get that level 6, you're more than happy to start taking on some TVTs. It felt like the damage was done by Tax's run around drive-by of the entire map going into every lane, especially with Wendell helping out with that regard too.
Turret plate's just fallen. Mid-game commences. MC's in the bot lane, but he's on vision. That feels a little bit of an apt description of how this game thus far has gone for the Riddle team. MC, one of those players that seems to have all the impact or none of it, it feels.
Interesting thing here, by the way. So you saw that Crispeg that was sat on Calibrum and Graviton.
Yes.
So this is a pop quiz. I believe it was posed by, I'm trying to remember who
Jack Spectra.
Jack Spectra.
I saw this particular.
Like because actually a lot of what Aphelios does is about his weapon management, and we'll see if it comes into it. It's a slow game, but now you see what's happened here. You're now stuck on the Gravitum and the Crescendum. If you actually if you use up the green gun first, if you use up Calibrum, then you can start cycling around. So you're going to have actually Crescendum into Severum, then Crescendum into Calibrum on your next rotation. So you can kind of fix your weapon rotation if you use up the Calibrum first. So let's see how, if that comes to bear, whether we'll see Crispeg with good weapons for the next big fights.
To clarify, the combos you tend to look for are Calibrum, Crescendum, Severum, Crescendum tend to be the really good combos. And honestly, Graviton plus Infernum's not bad either if you want big wombo ults.
Well, that gives
not
you
the best
option in
exactly.
fights, right? It just means
but it's not the same damage
output. Nice. Yeah. On the whole, you just want to be sat on Crescendum with a good weapon for it most of the time. As you can see here, again, cycle through into that Severance. You have one of your better combos. And actually, one of the really cool things with this is that, actually, my favorite pre-6 combo for Aphelios is where you go from the Infernum into your Severum with the Crescendum, because you just get so many chakrams with everything.
Push danger, but does avoid the death sentence. A little bit of contesting going on in this blue side jungle, and now Astralis doesn't want to bother. It's going to force a flash of Berserk coming through to 3 as a result of that hostile takeover, but just doesn't do a lot at this point in the game.
It's like a slower, more gaseous Maokai.
Is it gaseous or gaseous?
You know what? I haven't said that word in a while.
It's one of those things I feel like I don't say out loud.
Yeah,
I see it written. There you go. Questions of the English language.
If you say it with confidence, it's probably better than anything else you could do.
That's exactly Nymeria.
Oh, shut up, you.
Nima era.
Oh, not this again.
I'm pretty sure that's right. The era of Nim, and it is here.
Freedom on my name, and this is how you use it.
Nymeria.
That just sounds like you've, like... Have you had like a numbing agent put on your tongue at that point? Have you taken anesthetics midway through your don't you dare say that anesthetic is another way you can say my name.
I know aesthetic. I don't know. Like there's some way around this. No, I'm just numb to the pain of casting with you.
Okay,
got him. As no, my Kex may be looking for some anesthetic himself. As Cress does realm walk to the top side, a massive hijacked Gnar ult. Throws the mini Gnar into the wall. MC's going to try and turn it around, but it's going to be the teleports behind as well to make this a bit more of an even fight. Devastating charge runs Silas down. Tax are now in a dangerous position as the unstoppable, the onslaught of shadows rather came through afterwards as the, I forget what the name of Unleashed Power. There we go. Syndra trying best to do what they can as MC.
Oh my word.
Oh my god. Surely not. Surely not. Astralis, you can't give a quadra kill over. I was in the middle of stumbling over ability name while MC runs over the whole damn team.
Oh, and we've seen what Hecrims do with leads before. You know what? He's picked himself up a Sundra, going straight back into the replay. We did talk about, okay, these solo laners, they want to start getting involved. These mid laners haven't managed to get out to a lot of players before. It's a realm up, not the teleport from the Rise, but later on we do see the Syndra join the fray. But during all of this, it's a Conqueror onto the Hecarim who has a Sunder at this point. If you're not shutting down this pony, get ready to get absolutely trampled on by those hooves. And again, the Hecarim does serious damage. They're level 11 at this point. They have a serious item spike, and you don't respect MC, and MC, well, makes him pay for it.
It really does, and this was after I literally just said, look, he's not managed to get anything done, he's feeling a bit done, but Astralis mid-game.
Legitimately.
4-0-0, second Herald in inventory, and now you have a win condition, Divine Sunderer on this champion as well. No Chemtank, he's going to build the damage, knowing where he's at in this game as well. Luden's complete for slow Q, and suddenly the game back to only 2,000 or so apart. Less than that, more like 1,500. And Riddle, with their spiking composition in the mid game, can look to punish Astralis' over-aggression in the top side.
And, sadly not the first time that Astralis have overchased for some of their plays. And again, it's a team that has struggled in various iterations with trying to make plays in the first place. And this is, of course, one of the last two games of this split to show something to build on between spring and summer. Reminder, this is, of course, an NLC Academy org. You know, this is one of the big players you assume in the ERLs, and they've struggled to get things working in this split. Luckily, they do have some time to develop, and they hopefully have the resources to put towards that too. But Riddle trying to overcome that early game deficit and doing an admirable job after what we saw of those early plays.
Riddle going to be able to nail a turret in the top side, add that to their tally. First turret of the game for them, taken out. That's great news for them. They've got Herald in the bot lane. That's not actually going to be able to charge, though, so I'm not quite sure what happened there. Either way, that will be prevented from Astralis. I guess it was running out of time, would be my guess, but they do now have a win condition, Riddle, which we were struggling for only 5 minutes ago. That Hecarim can absolutely lead the charge and probably end it afterwards as well.
2 items this early into the game. 2 items before their solo laners. Yes, it's a force of nature as well, which is an item which was incredibly strong. It's been through a couple of changes.
Still pretty good into double AP.
You've got double AP solo laners. And if you have another extended fight with a Conqueror, with the force of nature stacking up, so you take 20% reduced magic damage, you are in such an important spot. Taxa charged out of the Lantern.
Does have to be flash away after being charged out, and that was now a very dark river to walk into. Watch for hostile takeovers, watch for Scatter the Weeks, watch for an onslaught of shadows. Where is Silas? What ultimates has he stolen? He's teleporting in. What is he going to hijack is the question. It is an onslaught of shadows. That's a big stun, though, on the other side as Wendell taken out. Very low. So the ace in the hole not blocked. Also, the Shadows in turn gets a flea, but not a huge amount more. Moonlight Vigil gets some chakram stacked for Chrisberg. The turnaround from MC is pretty good. That is a huge hostile take over. Chrisberg turns his chakrams on his own team, but he gets enough damage back to make the kill onto MC happen alongside the shutdown, but it does leave Carlson out to dry. Wendell taken so low by the boulder of Kex in his last moments of Mega Gnar. That last boomerang will claim a 3rd kill. Riddle get the dragon, and they are absolutely coming back into this game. The gold lead all but gone for Astralis.
Astralis, they understood the assignment, or at least Carlson did. You want to get a flank somewhere. You want to stop Riddle fighting front to back, but Fatachan, with the quick fingers, getting away and flashing over that Hecarim ult is pretty hard to do. That's a pretty nasty hitbox on that ability, but turns out so is Renata ult, at least when you stood in the waiting arms of it. Both of the smites go down as they both go for their dives, and it looks like you want to say something to that?
Really do, because Chrisberg got feared by the onslaught of shadows just after his Moonlight Vigil came through, so his chakrams timed out. He then gets hijacked to turn his chakrams onto his own teammates. So he spends about 3 to 4 seconds of that either losing his chakrams or attacking his own teammates. Like, that's just like, that's what he's like. He's set up to succeed, and no, he's not.
And that did seem like the difference of 2 Hecarim ultimates. Okay. Oh, Mega Gnar's up here, though.
I'm with you, especially if after you miss a Sonic Wave, and Kex just Mega Gnar's people away. They'll Realm Warp in, but it's only Realm Warping Taxa forwards. Nukes is around, has got himself, I believe that was a Locket to buy some space, and they're just going to get out. Realm Warp was popped, Kick is popped, and they just don't have the damage to kill Kex.
And it's the handshake, no thank you very much. And yes, you're right, it was the Shrelia.
I said, like, that looks a speed up, not
a support buff the items. Yes. Either a shield or a speed up. Take your guess. Either of them have the gold-like animation. And struck gold with that play on top side. Carlson now trying to go on a side lane. You try to do that MC. As a Fed.
Here we go.
Fed Silas, but maybe not onto MC.
Carlson will have a teleport to support Slow Q now in a spot of bother himself. What can they do to turn this around? Carlson takes a lot of damage. These unleashed power chunks Carlson out pretty low. Slow Q also chunked though. And MC trying to get with press. Here comes Chrisberg and Taxa. They might be punished. No, just another Sonic Wave misses, but a Flash Rune Prison will keep the mid laner locked down. MC is going to be taken out as well, and he is hobbled and deleted in the side lane. And they punish the overextension from Riddle on the opposite side.
How do 5 members of Astralis get to the bot lane without Riddle managing to find some kind of support. They choose to hard commit towards that cross map, but what do they get for it? They don't get themselves a mid lane out of turret. They don't get themselves much for it.
And they're going to move away. Not much more to be said. And that's a couple kills going over to Astralis, who managed to right the ship a little bit after there were some holes in it. Especially after we said Riddle had to fix their own ship earlier in the game. Nautical references abound.
Yeah, and the person who really does well on that front is Carlson, because Carlson, we said, look, Silas wants to side lane. They have those 2 items, the Cosmic Drive, very much helping in terms of giving you the ability haste to get multiple rounds of Kingslayer, and of course the mobility of the Absconder Duct. And Riddle, they just could not shut them down. Very timely teleport from Crescent. We were already talking, you know, that once we had like a little bit more of a sleeper early game, look, we're going to see these mid laners getting out to these fights with their teleports. They want to get involved.
Carlson just hanging over the wall, working to see if he can time out the Mega Gnar before going into this. Will be about to fall, and just going to be here to collect this wave, prevent an easy opportunity to take this tower. Everfrost goes wide, but instead, Absconder Duck going to try and get onto Kegs, got the Conqueror snipe, and actually he's losing his trade. There's a Hull Breaker. Stolen Mega Gnar, but it's not enough damage in that. In fact, as the stopwatch pops, the Boomerang comes out, will quite go wide. Carlson gets away, but needs to be aware of a hop, needs to be aware of a flash. Oh, what was that? You can't miss that! And does get out alive, but Kegs fumbling in the solo kill execution there.
Oh, he gets the boot. I think he flashed a little too late. Boomerang fires out from his initial position.
Boomerang.
Well.
Yeah, Kex is actually quite young, so I'm not sure that's entirely fair, but there we go. Makes an unfortunate play. Chrisberg and Wendell coming down, though. One chain
I'm so angry, I'm going to kill a turret instead.
Silas is free from his chain, but the chain warden's coming down. 2 chains, you might say, and it'll be the second attempt to try and kill off Kex. Gravita Moonlight Visual land after a flay forwards that allows Kex to be pulled back. Binding Eclipse locks him down. Dodge sidestep the death sentence, though. He's going to be able to throw out the Boomerang. Teleport's coming through. There's a Lantern to get Chrisberg and say to MC's coming down alongside with Fadichan. He's got Ghost Pod, he's got a devastating charge, he's got an Onslaught of Shadows! Fleeing into the waiting arms of Slowq, who scatters him and proves he is in fact too weak to stand. Unleashes the power. Caitlyn is shut down elsewhere though as Crest gets a hold of him, and a teleport number 2 come through. Stolen Onslaught of Shadows isn't used yet, but could be used to turn around a play. Demolish alongside Kex with a Hull Breaker will allow a big chunk onto this tier 2 in the bot lane, and we need to see whether anything more is happening yet.
Did we change feeds onto a solo queue game? Is this my flex queue? I'm not sure. The macro is making me very scared.
But it's not still going! Over the wall, but he gets Everfrost in place! He gets destroyed as the Scatter the Weak lands again! It's 100% concentrated force of will from Slowq, who makes a Fort Minor reference at this day and age, but it's not going to matter as they get the kill. They punish the overchase and they'll move back towards the Dragon to secure soul points.
Now, I'm not necessarily a Margarine fan, but I'm going to take some inspiration from it. I can't believe it's not solo queue.
That is true. We've actually got a little bit of screen phrase going on here, so I can't believe
I think
this
what
game
we've
is
shown on the screen has been so
traumatizing.
So traumatizing. We're actually not allowed to see what happens there. Hi, you'll have something even more traumatizing. Us.
I know. What do you mean traumatizing? I'm great. I am like wholesome and lovely and great to have on screen. Don't do this to me. This is what you have to deal with. This is my younger brother. I'm supposed to be the one teasing you. This is the way that works. That's like a contract.
Well, yeah, you know, we had a contract dispute last time. We changed out some clauses.
Look, but I like just because Renata's in the game doesn't mean you have to put like a hostile takeover on the desk as well. I will shove you off.
Why do you think we've seen so much R in the NLC? It's all me. It's all me and my contract disputes. I was like, they must play an amount.
I'm fairly sure it's more like Goldberg. Let's be real. He's the Renata aficionado.
Yeah, I was thinking about the Ari thing, though.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, it's like, why do you think you see so much of it?
I think I heard Renata, not Ari. Attention, sorry about that.
If we're going to go talk about that Renata, though, what are you making of it in this game yourself? Or do we not have time to speak about
I will explain that in a second because I have got confirmation from production before I do discuss that one that this is happening because, this pause specifically is happening because one of the players is disconnected, so we're sorting that out. Very reasonable reason to be pausing the game as it stands. As for Renata, because we have got a little bit of time to discuss, it's been interesting. I think early on, the early hostile takeovers didn't feel like they did that much, but now it's getting a little bit later. You're getting to see some of the value of the Blood Boil equivalents. And honestly, MC getting that quadra kill, perhaps more important right now, because he gets to go in, slow down the fear. It allows a setup for an easy hostile takeover, because it's not the fastest moving ultimate. And you can see the chain layering of that kind of CC. It's pretty devastating. It reminds me a little bit of the old school Seraphine Hecarim combos.
Sure, a little bit. And I mean, the thing for me about the Renata ults that it feels like it doesn't win you a fight unless it's hyper late game. It feels like it is an incredibly well scaling ult because, you scale off your enemy team's damage effectively at that point. But what it does do, again, it's almost like a zoning tool, like a Maokai ult for me. It's halfway between the Seraphine, halfway between that and the Maokai. And I do think that we've seen the better end of it in terms of the laning phase, at least in this game. But you can see how much variability there is. This is not a solved champion yet.
No, it is not very new. We've had 3 games in a row of it, though, so we're going to see a little bit more data, I suppose, to dissect and work out how it's going to work.
Oh, if
We've got
only we
ourselves
had-
a replay to maybe do exactly that. Oh, if only we had that.
Incredible.
Thank you, production. It's coming, apparently. In fact, what do you know? There it is. This was
are we just shaming Kex for this? Because I know that, because Kex did so well in this individual matchup last time they played.
W.
Kex, I mean, you don't have one in Mininar, and he's trying to go for the Q flash, and he don't be doing it. He don't
Boomerang
be
comes
it
back a little too early there, one might say.
It's like, the song, My Boomerang Won't Come
I
Back.
do remember that was my childhood.
Boomerang came back, but I didn't want it to.
I didn't want that to come back that early, and then Chris Vogel
Lesser known song.
And at this point, you can hear the Benny Hill theme start. Roll up. Tickets are being sold to the largest circus on Earth. What on earth was occurring? The solo queue vibes, slow queue besides, of course, with the name being kind of similar. Kex with great footwork, don't get me wrong, but this was a game of inches and slight misexecutions from both sides.
It does feel like that is the definition of task failed successfully.
Yes.
Doesn't get the solo kill, still somehow miraculously survives.
Yards.
As you said, as much as we could focus on the Renata, honestly, it's the Hecarim being such a problematic champion when they get ahead, regardless of the build, of course. I mean, I think that the tank Hecarim is one which is one I prefer to see a lot in terms of the raw power of it, because you cannot remove that champion from your backline once he gets on there. Carry on.
I can do that. What do you want to carry on about? There's a question.
I thought
give me a topic.
See, the thing is this, Sam. I have this innate trust in you to say, oh, I'm going to cut in because I've got something important to say. I thought it was an update from production.
No, none of that. If I would have actually cut in a lot harder than that. Sorry about that, mate. I thought you were just done, personally.
Okay, well, that tells you a lot about iDynamic. He's just like, oh, you know what? He's taking a small break. Sure, he's done with anything of value at that point.
I mean, you are. Come on, let's be real.
That's what I have to deal with.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, that's the one. Cool. Show off. So, of course,
Literally.
back in your lane, buddy. But I mean, stopping in the middle of this game again, because we've kind of broken down some of the individual players, talked about some of the champions. If we bring back to the meaning of what this game means, though, of course, the meaning of the meaning.
We'll just have to wait for a second, because I did get an update from production.
Seriously.
It's still ongoing. We're going to have to wait a bit longer, so now you can keep going.
Why would you do this? Okay, right, back to
But that
what
reaction
this game
right there.
means,
What does it mean? Is the answer 42?
Riddle are in this game to prove that they can go far in playoffs in a lot of ways, actually. It's one of their last couple of games, and we knew that after the games that Dusty and Veneer showed earlier, they'd have to put on a hell of a performance. Now, they have had some good moments, but they haven't been able to string a lot of them together. And as much as this mid-game has been more in their favor, I worry about what the heck happened in that early game to come around to this kind of game.
Yeah, and this has always been our issue with Riddle. They have managed to win games that they weren't playing especially well in, I think it's fair to say. But they've had some good clutch plays.
Yeah, they've had to effectively create hero plays to get themselves back on the board. But the fact that they have to make hero plays is a problem.
Yeah, you should be a last resort rather than a consistent...
How many objectives does MC got to steal for you?
Well, he is the Prince of Thieves. This play has stolen more objectives than literally anybody else in the league right now. And he kind of steals away a bit of a lead from Astralis in this one as well, just steals some lives on the Hecarim, which I suppose is kind of appropriate.
Magi's Hecarim, let's go.
Magi's Hecarim. I mean, AP Hecarim would only work with a W.
It was briefly a thing, you know. It was terrifying.
Why was that a thing? Was it just W being...
Well, W at all, just being hilarious.
Okay, that's fair. Okay.
Just like AP Jax.
Aura of Dread.
Gunblade Lichbane Jax was the thing, you know.
Boy.
And apparently Lichbane Ari, but Power of Evil never do that to me again. It hurt. Well, actually, it didn't hurt because you can't do damage.
We're onto the Rift.
Onto the Rift!
We're onto the Rift!
Onto the Rift!
I didn't actually bait in this time with the update. I enjoy making my brother sweat because I'm potentially a bad human being. As Riddle did secure themselves Soul Point. A reminder of what happened in this game. Or rather, before the pause.
Last time on NLC.
Game 5 of day 1, week 9, the final week, and it was Riddle that came back in an important bot lane skirmish that led to the Soul Point being secured.
First, that was so
How's that?
dramatic that I was like, I'll do a one-liner.
The world threatened by Hecarim ultimates. One man
two of
stands
them.
against him.
Two of them.
Okay, you know what?
because they're
Hijack.
stealing him.
One man Carlson can
so
steal it away.
The thing about the stolen Hecarim ults and blah 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 is that I often have names for the stolen ults. Like my favorite one is when you steal Ivern's Daisy, it becomes Peach.
That's
because your
brilliant.
ultimate
It's
is
brilliant. That's
another
inspired.
castle.
Never mind, Realm War.
Hex doesn't have an ultimate because he's mini now right now.
It's a realm apart. It's not quite Final Fantasy, but it might be a final kill that would secure a Baron for Astralis, getting a massive pick off on the top lane. A Hullbreaker not enough. Meganon not near enough. And that means Astralis, despite the play in bot side, could still look to go towards Baron. It will be a 4v5, and they're willing to try and take this one out. Remember, if you ult as Renata, you can make sure that the Baron is stolen by you if it's an enemy team member.
Oh,
that
MC's
secures it.
hooked.
MC gets hooked on Swords of Shadows anyway. It's a massive five-man fear. The on
That's the ult!
big berserk as a result of the hostile takeover will force Carlson to back away. Does have the teleport to come back in though. Baron down to 5,000 HP. I think it's in the hole coming through as well. Has to back out as he gets rooted. Loyalty program.
How does MC
goes
get
wide.
into the pit now? He doesn't have the ult. He has
No
a
ghost.
It doesn't even have the ghost.
Carlson on the
so
flag.
difficult to play
Does
out this fight.
Get thrown away by the handshake. Taxon misses the Sonic Wave down to 2,000 HP. Will not be able to use it on the Baron quite yet. Shut down onto Slow Q into the backside. Will not secure the Baron. The Mastercard Baron power play goes the way of Astralis, and this fight is theirs. Nukes avoids the abscond abduct, but has nowhere to run. Your business is done for. Shut down by Silas.
Might be the Prince of Thieves, but looks like we've got ourselves a bit of a revolution amongst the monarchy. MC not able to get in towards that Baron pit, and this is straight after the pause. Astralis explode through top lane, decisively go towards the Baron, and they find a way to absolutely turn this game on its head. They were losing all of these confrontations, losing all of the grouped up fights, but this time they pull the trigger, get the numbers advantage, get themselves a real back-breaking advantage.
Yes, they do. Gold lead now back in their favor. They've still got to worry about this Mountain Drake in 2.5 minutes. What can they get done on the map in this meantime, though? They've got some decent split pushes. It's late enough in the game that items are beginning to be completed at some very dangerous points. That will be the disconnect that was problematic earlier. Of course, that has now been resolved, hence this brief podcast segment where me and Alex bickered for about 5 minutes straight. Welcome to having siblings on broadcast. And Riddle now on the back foot after taking what was a pretty significant fight that seemed to swing the game more firmly in their command.
And you have to look back at that fight and honestly praise Astralis for making this game so competitive and so compelling in a game where they have nothing to play for. They're out of playoffs. This is a confidence game. Maybe looking forward to future development. Riddle.
Not getting baited by this turret. It's been the bane of so many teams in the NLC.
don't be diving that turret. This one has been...
It can't hurt us anymore.
This is an NLC landmark at this point. It's part of our fabric, part of our history.
Teleport. It's time.
Riddle are looking for the
They don't want to go
Meganar.
quietly. They want to try and trade. It is going to be a Meganar. Half the bar left. Has got a blast gun. Could try and get in behind. Stepping forward towards Astralis. Has got flash as well. Will force the turret down, though. Over the wall. He crunches. But that will be the end of the shove. Just an inhibitor turret that falls. No inhibitors themselves, though.
But with that, that is the end of the Baron buff for this point. They're not going to be able to push in for much more. They might be able to just get one more wave shoved in that mid lane, but this isn't going to perfectly overlap with the Dragon. That's the big thing, right? Riddle didn't go for a game-losing play at that point. They can get rid of that Baron buff. Sadly, this does mean for the side of Riddle, you have to deal with all of that gold now being spent, being reset for. But it's not like Riddle don't have their own item completions to work with.
Key summoners down on Fatachan and Nukes. Neither of them able to use that key summoner. Big items, though, are complete. Look at the mid lane. Cress got a Gargoyle Stoneblade as his fourth item.
Tanky.
Big deal right now. Of course, Kex just completed his third, but there's no Infinity Edge right now for Fatachan compared to an Infinity Edge for Crispberg. This is some dangerous points that Riddle just can't actually compete at. I wonder whether they just give this one up and wait for a third item on their AD carry.
It's an option, but you have to look at so many damage threats and the way that the fights have been going. They might be emboldened to try and just outplay their way through this because they do want to take grouped up fights. They want to use that ultimate. Carlson's found a flank. That's the MO of this composition.
Oh, death
so
sentence!
cute. Oh.
It's so true! Has got a bailout down, but he does get the kill. He'll stay alive just for that, but the Ignite will bring him down again. The fight continues. Onslaught of Shadows is doing some work, but look at Chrisberg doing so much work. Kex, though, still alive. Carlson has to flash away. Abscond of Duck goes wide. That's a realm walk forward to bring Chrisberg forwards, and that could be just stunned into tower, though. Red gun's not enough. Charge through. Double kill will secure MC, but now Crest dueling it out with the top laner. Teleport coming back in for Carlson, who still has that summoner available, and it is a one-team fight for Astralis, but it came so very, very close.
And maybe you're right in saying, Riddle, maybe you don't want to take this one. Maybe get yourself to another item after this point, but they do go towards the fight. Kex has a flash. He doesn't have any Mega Gnar bar.
He's
It's against the two solo laners.
Voids away from the Everfrost, can still keep trading. Looking to steal, there's no smite, remember, so he could definitely look to steal. Lots of damage on the Crest, he gets rooted in place. Mega Gnar's coming up very soon. Gonna get rooted down, flashing away, Chain Lash! And a final spell flux makes Crest a legend in the NLC.
Carlson gets into the fight yet again. This Silas has been critical. Look at the angle, he finds again. It's comboed up with Wandel, but without Carlson there to follow up, this fight could have gone so badly with a reset on that, on the bailout. They do, of course, Astralis go very, very deep into a Hecarim and into the Mega Gnar, but Chrisberg is not caught in with it. You are right to call him out in the middle of that fight and say, oh my gosh, Chrisberg is doing damage untouched, able to get so much work done. Of course, the Realm Walk into the CC, aggro taken. It means that the AD carry can't survive beyond that point. That might have even been an inhibitor, might have even been game-ending push. Riddle lived to survive limping away from that.
Still, game's still very close. They're still at soul point. Down now 6,000 gold, but it's late enough into the game that makes significantly less difference. Fatachan does now have an Infinity Edge, but it wasn't there in that previous fight. They're going to be inches away from a death cap on slow Q, which will also be a very big spike. Reminder, of course, that Crest doesn't really have a lot of MR, and he would be very heavily chunked out by something like that. Gargoyle Stone Plate, even that considered.
That is true. I mean, he does have the Force of Nature, which helps.
True.
Actually,
Force
Force
of
Nature
Nature
actually does give him some ability to play around that, so keeping champs on that one. But either way, as much as you can talk about the Rise being a front line, Astralis don't want to be playing around a front line. They want to be on the flank. We've said that the whole game, and Carlson has been the one to make that interesting so far. That's Infernum.
Ooh. Fair amount of damage. Crest is still on the flank. Look at that bottom right of your screen.
Looking for it again. They're trying to flank Yeg again, and Riddle don't have the vision.
Got stunned. The box is done. He's taken very low. Kex has got Mega. He's going to be coming to the backside. That's the Onslaught of Shadows. Gets a flea onto two. Big Mega Gnar on a Chrisberg. He's dead. Slow Q takes him out. The weak gets scattered again. Fatachan still alive. Kex gets Mega. He's in the hole. Secures Wandel, the Chain Warden, stuck in his own prison. Double for Fatachan. Slow Q over the wall, throwing out Dark Sphere after Dark Sphere. The Sovereign of Ionia, this mighty mage doing so much work as Fatachan claims another. The long arm, the long gun of the law, securing enough kills, and this will be Baron as well. Fight goes one way, fight goes the other, and this time it's Riddle coming out on top.
How do Riddle keep finding hero plays? They find themselves in another difficult, drawn-out late-game situation, but they turn the fight in another time where they do have a flank, threatening their backline. Gonna go see, of course, how this all happens, and Chrisberg grabs him with that Gale Force forwards, looks for the kill onto the AD carry, but he's the one that's overstepped their bounds. The last fight, he goes untouched for so long. This time he hits the ground so quickly. Inside of that, the Realm Walk to try and follow on the fight isn't enough to get Crest into a good position, and numbers start falling left, right, and center, and somehow, some way, Riddle get out with everyone alive.
They do. Big kills coming through. Big
Absolutely
Baron take.
ridiculous. How does it?
And
I just don't.
I've got to call it out. Chrisberg, again, with an overstep in critical team fights when he's looking to be aggressive. He has not, across this season, chosen his moments to go forward aggressively well. It's been a problem, and this kind of situation, in this critical situation, the late game scenario, comes to punish him again. That Gale Force, too aggressive.
It's another chapter in the saga of Astralis and trying to address the problems this team has had in a game, which means, again, keep saying it, very little to them. They're making this game close. And
Oh, no! scatter the weak. Slow Q is anything but slow with the fingers there. They get the kill, and they've got both bot laners down. Now with the Baron and the two-man advantage, they can start to shove through mid, and I think that's it. Riddle will move to 9 and 8 surely here.
They're looking for the death blow, taking down turrets, going forward with the Baron buff with numbers advantage. Astralis, there's no flank to be had. You gotta fight him up front and center.
What can Taxa, Carlson, and Crest do? The kick does some work. Slow Q goes golden, but rooted in place, pulled back by the handshake. The stolen onslaught of shadows does allow one to go down, but it's going to be too late. Fatachan picks up one more. Crest being run back to the fountain. Keck throwing boomerang after boomerang to try and secure more, and yes, he'll stay alive, but his Nexus will not. Riddle move to 9 and 8.
It has been an absurd day of League of Legends for the NLC. We have had an unprecedented amount of late game team fights, of late game shot calling, the smoke and mirrors, hero plays galore.
Absolutely knife edge fights. Such a close game, but it was Riddle that came out on top. But my days, was that going back and forth?
Yeah, that was less of a riddle and more of like slam poetry back and forth. I mean, I cannot believe this team consistently finds themselves in the most entertaining.
That was more like a knock-knock joke, a knock-knock.
Who's there?
I don't know, we're gonna go to a break, find out after that.
I hate you, Sam. I hate you.
We are back, and I was told at the beginning of the day that today wasn't going to be a spicy one. It was going to be a normal one. And at the
And then
end
you're
of the
stuck
day,
with me.
which is a pleasure, by the way, but okay. But no, these games were really, really interesting.
Our last one, it really delivered. I think it
Yes.
was like anyone's game.
Yeah, and why? That is exactly what I want to know when I
man.
talk with Astralis, because they were fighting for their lives.
There was one thing that I said, obviously I said it as a joke. I was like, CRISPR giveth, CRISPR taketh. But not in a context of he's either going to carry your throw. It was more like he was able to get his perfect fight. He could carry the fight, but a lot of these spheres like hit him, the Hecarim dive in the back. It was a really difficult game to play as an Aphelios.
It was. It was really difficult. And now let's talk with Astralis. And with this in mind, I have Texer, who played Lee Sin. Hello, welcome back.
Hey man, how you doing?
I'm doing really fine. Today was a interesting
Hello
day.
to you too, Taxa.
Oh,
She's
Sorry.
going to attack you. She's going to attack you. So obviously, I have a lot of tough questions. I'm really sorry about this, but I want to know for you what this game meant, because you guys were fighting for your life. This was one of the best games that I've seen you play, like the entire team. You were really anxious to get this victory. What does this game mean to you, like this specific game?
I mean, since we're out of playoffs and we all think we are good enough right now to be in playoffs, we want to prove that we're still good and we want to just play with no regrets and get the last 2 wins. Fortunately, it didn't go our way today, but I think we had a lot of good plays and we played with way more confidence than we did earlier.
Honestly, it was really close. It's always a pleasure seeing you on your beloved Lee Sin as well, because you're known for the champion. Now, I want to ask you something sort of like behind the scenes, because we see this a lot of the time, you know, with the LEC as well, the Vitality roster, right? The best on paper roster. Now in the NLC, a lot of the names on your team in particular, excluding Carlson, because he's a rookie, of course, not due to skill level. You've got pretty much like BIS on every role, like best in slot on every single one of your roles, guys. What do you think sometimes goes on behind the scenes when a roster is like so good on paper but doesn't necessarily perform?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and like you have to adjust to how the others play, and you have to find your spot in the team. And I think it has taken us a while, and then we have been playing pretty bad, and I don't think a lot of the players have been used to that. So I think it was a learning process to lose a lot, and then like confidence loss as well, and then building it up again. And I feel like here at the end, we were finally trying, like we were getting a lot better, but yeah, we didn't make it in the end, unfortunately.
There's always summer.
There's always summer, yeah, to begin with, but it is a tough split for you guys. And I'm going to do one of the hardest questions that I've ever made for Astralis. Taxer, you were
Oh no.
Oh.
a second. So, Treble was talking about the names you guys have, the way you have been performing, and the idea is it's always really close, but it's just not there, the victories. But I know in paper things are working out. I know scrims are working out as well, but on official games, they're not working out as intended. And I've been talking with a lot of players today, and I've been getting a lot of sneak peeks that things will change on rosters. What I want to know is, how is the team mentality now that you're no longer capable of going to playoffs? But are you looking for the next split? Because to me, this is one of the strongest rosters we have in NLC. The names are amazing. The brand is amazing as well. How is the team looking up? And how can we get to the next split?
We are really motivated. Like you would think, by us losing a lot, there would be like a lot of problems and we would be mad at each other. But I think we are really good at handling it well, and we just focused on playing to get better and focusing on next split. So I would say we are really positive about it, and we're just focused on next split because this split is obviously too late for us to make playoffs, but we can still show that we're good.
This is what I wanted.
Honestly, we've been getting this from a lot of teams. Like Singularity said the same thing. There were Pop has told us previously, like if it wasn't other guys losing, it could have gone like really downhill. You were telling us the same, that when people can take criticism and they can take the losses and grow from them, it's just a great atmosphere to be around, right? And it's honestly great to hear that from Astralis, because honestly, the names, the brand, everything, you Taxa as well. We've seen you like competing at the top of your level as well. I wish you guys all the best for summer.
This to me
Thank you.
is what this is the difference between a good team and a great team. A team that is capable of looking, okay, we're not doing fine now, but we can do it in the future.
Rogue did it. They went from last place to winning LEC regular split. There you go.
Texas, thanks so much for this interview, and I wish you the best for the future. I want to see this Astralis just to the stars, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Have a nice evening.
Always a pleasure. This is what I
The
wanted.
stars,
The
Astralis.
stars. Yeah.
Hey.
For Denmark, I don't know how you say it. You told me just an hour ago. I'm shameful, but
What were you trying to say? The Denmark thing?
yes.
Yeah, don't say that.
Okay, so I shouldn't. So I don't know. I don't know how to speak Danish. So I had no idea what I was going to say. But the idea is, I want
If
to
it's
see
come out of
these
Google's
teams.
mouth, do not trust it.
I agree with that. I agree with that. If Goldberg is
Love you,
saying
Google.
anything, just don't say it. I want to see teams thriving in the future. You don't do it in the present. Work for the future. It's not about perfection. It's about improvement. This is something that I've taught
development,
myself a lot of times, and this is what you need. And I love these teams that are improving themselves. And now we can look into the other side. Riddle, a team that has also improved and locked in players with another victory on top of that. We have Nukes back with us for the interview. Welcome back, Nukes.
Hi, thank you.
There you go. Easy peasy. Okay.
Just like the game. They didn't sweat at all.
Important team, important game as well, important victory. How were you feeling during the game? Because it was a rough one, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I was sweating hard for the first 20 minutes. I mean, lane didn't go as planned. I believe we had one of the strongest ADC and supports of the game, and we managed to not get ahead in lane. And then because I bought Spell Thief, I got like 200 gold at 10 minutes, so I decided to sell it. And I got my wards at 20 minutes. It's like I was feeling really pressured because of that item, only because of that.
So when you say the strongest AD season support, do you mean the player or the champion?
The champions.
Come on, man, you should have said the player.
That was fast.
That's right, you should have
No,
said
no,
the
because-
player.
I mean, we're just not good enough to play how the champions are supposed to be played. Like if we can't manage to get ahead playing the strongest champions, like we shouldn't pick them.
Can you
Try
tell
some
me?
shade. We like that.
Yeah, no shame in that. I like that, Nukes. You're always like straightforward, and I love
Very
that.
honest.
Yeah. Tell me something. How many hours or how many games you have on Renata so far?
Maybe like 7-8 games, so 5 hours.
Yeah.
Maybe less.
How are you feeling with the champion? You feel like you need a lot more time to master the champion? Is this one of those high ceiling champions, or are you feeling comfortable right now?
I mean, let's say I prefer Renato over some champions, even though like I have, let's say, I don't know, Lulu or Thresh even. Like I have like few hundred games on those, but I prefer Renata with like 8 games. But I think it's hard champion for sure. Like the ultimate and the Q are the hardest spells.
Yeah. Now, Nukes, I want to take you a little bit into the future with the playoffs coming. Obviously, Riddle is fighting to take like a better seeding. But I want you to look into, the playoff spots and the teams. Who are you looking forward to face the most? Who do you think maybe you're going to face in the first round of playoffs?
Wait, I'm not sure. Is it possible to face Bifrost?
If Bifrost,
I mean, maybe, yeah.
if Bifrost take third place, possibly,
Yes.
yeah.
That could be one of the games.
I mean, honestly, probably not gonna face Dusty first, but I would say Dusty because we already lost to them twice, and I wanna beat them.
Looking for revenge in a best of?
Yes,
Oh.
absolutely.
Love that. Love
Straightforward.
that. Love that.
Straightforward, Nukes. Okay, Nukes. Let's play a game. Let's play pick, ban, dodge, and I want you to be straightforward with me in the answers as well. This is exactly what we want. And
Wait, can you explain the rules again? Because last time I was pretty confused.
no worries, I got you, man. I got you. So we have 5 plays. Every single time we show a play, you decide on what side you want to look into the play. If you want to look it from the blue side or from the red side, it is up to you. Then you have to pick ban or dodge. If you pick it, it's because you enjoy the play. You would like to see it again. You would like to do it yourself. If you pick dodge, I mean, it's not your favorite play, but yeah, I don't want to see it. The ban is like, I don't want to see this play anymore. I don't want to see that player anymore. I want to ban him away forever. And you can pick more than once. Like you can pick all 5, you can dodge all 5, you can ban all 5. So it's up to you, okay?
Yep.
Okay, so let's go for the first one for Pick, Ban, Dodge today. Today was an awesome day, so let's see what we get. Oh,
Oh, no. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, okay, I thought it was a different play, but okay.
But it's
Oh no, it is
not
this play.
over.
It is this play. It is this play.
It is not over.
Oh no.
You just missed the song from Twitch. Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. Dee-dee-dee-dee. Level 6.
Ow, I was hiding.
Pick a side, Nukes. I see that smile.
We're such clowns.
I mean, I did like the play. Like he got his flash, everything calculated except for the level 6. So, but I will say pick.
I would say the same. Yeah, every single time I see an action go down, I love that play.
Although it was Graves getting the kill, which is kind of like...
But still, his action getting down, so I'll make a deal with the devil on that play. So yeah, love it. Second play of the day, Nukes. Let's see what we got in store for you. It is Nuriki versus Bifrost.
Oh no, a smell disaster. It's basically, oh no, it's basically a Silas and a Nautilus trying to run down a Poppy.
Wait,
Oh, the chain, he flashed the chain. That was so well done by Shikari. Die! And then you can't dash. Why you dashing?
okay, we have to pick a side before we
And then
can
he
say.
has to TP because there's a gigantic wave waiting for him back in tier 1 top bot lane. No.
I have two ways to do it, but you tell me first, Nukes.
Well, they went to gank a Poppy without Silas and used a lot of splashes on him, so I'm just gonna say ban. I won't do that.
Pick? Okay, explain.
I am a Poppy enjoyer, and I think Shikari outplayed the ish out of that one, especially when he flashed over the chains. That would have been his death if that CC landed, so I think it was very well played by Shikari to get out of that.
I'm really divided as well because I have the pick for the Poppy. It was really well done, but then I have the ban. Like, I hate those champions that chain CC you away. A Poppy, man. We don't get to see Poppy a lot of time.
Come on, Poppy's not that illegal, man. Come on.
I mean, I enjoy Poppy, but she's not played as often as I would like to.
Oh, I love Poppy, yeah.
Would you play Poppy support one day, Nux? Do you think she could come back to the meta as a support?
Maybe, like, I have tried playing him, but I just don't like the champ and feels kind of weak as a support.
Okay, fair enough. You see? Straightforward. I like it. Like Nux. I like. Okay, third play of the day, Nux. Let's see what we have in store. No. Oh no, is this the...
You're looking a little green.
Nope.
Nope.
I have it secured already. I have it secured. I'm not gonna move a muscle. I'm not gonna move a muscle, Nux. What do you think?
It's a ban from Malphite side. I mean, you're... Just woke up and don't use ulti. Just woke up, you're a rock. Like, what can he do?
Exactly. Like, you can straight up walk to it. Yeah, she dodged it.
I'm gonna dodge like the Jinx dodge with Flash.
It's one of the best feelings to flash a Malphite ult. It is chef's kiss.
It's very easy.
It is.
Yeah, because it's
Remember
a very
the day-
small ult.
Remember the day when Ocelot was still a player and he was kind of relevant at the
I
time?
was very young.
And he was the one flashing away the Malphite, and that was one of the best plays of the season. And now everybody
Yeah,
does
I
it.
also remember Ocelot using Orianna ultimates on people who have used Zonias while they're still in Zonias, so I don't know what you're on about.
I mean, he's a really good manager nowadays. That's
Right.
it. Nuke's paying somebody for this one and the last one.
Stuff.
Ocelot, please don't attack me. Okay. It's the Gnar, the Chuggy Chuggy.
Oh,
Oh no,
Oh.
who is this?
So,
Oh,
the funny
who
thing
dis?
is, okay,
Who is this?
funny thing is, I think you went to grab your drink at that point, Alex, and I was like, no beep way. He actually boomeranged right in front of him, and you're like, what do you mean? It didn't reach him? I was like, no, he literally boomeranged in front of him.
Nukes, I know what you're gonna say. So what do you think? What do you think?
I mean, I was even watching it like happening live. I saw Zonias from Silas, and then he just threw it too early, and then I don't know what happened. He missed everything. So, I mean, I'm gonna say dodge. I don't want to see this with my eyes.
He's dodging forever in his life. It happened. It's one of those
Sorry,
moments.
man. I'm
when,
sorry. I'm banning that now. I'm sorry.
Where you think you're playing like with a Wi-Fi instead with a cable. Something happened. You don't know. You don't quite know. Do you have any of those moments?
His cat pressed the boomerang maybe before he flashed.
Exactly. The cat ran across the keyboard and it
Yeah,
happened.
press the Q,
We don't know.
you know, yeah.
Did you ever got one of those plays, Nukes, where you look at yourself and like, oh man, I don't like myself today. This is one of those plays. This is why shampoos have like how to use them. It's because of me today. Have you ever had one of those plays?
Yeah, I mean, sure, maybe it happens every week. I mean, it didn't happen this game, but sure, it has happened a lot.
Not
Played
every
to
day.
perfection, baby.
Yes. Thank you so much for another wonderful interview, Nukes, and I'll see you in playoffs, man. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Arigato gozaimasu.
I
had to
love.
sneak it in.
Yeah, you got one per day.
Okay.
That's your one.
That was
per
it.
day.
That was my one per
Yeah,
day.
There you go. I know Initialize and Amara are talking in Japanese as well in the green room, so I'll give him this. I'll give him this. This was a wonderful day, though, and we have to pick one play. The priceless play of the day, the one that exceeded every other play. So, do you want to see it back at home? Let's take a look, because I have no idea what
Which
it
one
is.
is it? Which one is it? Which
Yeah.
one is it?
Okay.
I can't see. It's too far away. Oh no, I know which one
And-
it is. I know.
Oh, Renata comes in, gives the ultimate. Nata's going crazy with the Elder.
Okay.
It's at City.
Right here, I was literally screaming at the top of my lungs, you can't lose with Elder, you can't lose with Elder,
Yeah.
you can't lose with Elder. But they actually lost with Elder.
Famous last words, that's what I'm gonna say. Because Singh still sacrifices himself now. No, not on my watch. Come back here with a death sentence. It's just not enough. And out of a sudden,
I think he was preventing the inevitable.
the Kings of the North.
The Kings of the North?
The Kings of the North.
Are you
They've lost
Vanir
the throne.
fanboy now?
No, the Kings of the North X7.
Oh, right.
Losing versus Vanir. It's lore-wise, you know, guys. It's lore-wise.
The crown has been taken hostage.
This was an amazing game. Obviously, this is the priceless play of
Tell
the
me
day.
it took my voice away.
It actually did, because when I talked with her on the green room, I was like, "Are you okay?" She was like, that was the sound that she made. And after a few minutes, she was able to recover. It was an amazing game. The cast was beautiful as well. Initialize and Treble did an awesome job. And let's see how we ended up today with. I don't know what is happening over there, but let's see how the day is up. X7 still in first place, but look at this. Bifrost and JDXL are one game away from first spot as well. In fourth place, we have Dusty alongside with Vanir, who won versus X7, and Riddle are also
Right behind.
one game away. Everything is so close, and we only have one day
I
left.
think the most important thing was X7 losing today, because that gives the opportunity to Bifrost and Excel to take first place. Actually, I don't think Excel can take first place anymore.
The thing
Makes
is,
it even worse, because if X7 and Excel tie for second, third, Excel
Excel.
will go down because they're 0-2. Yeah.
exciting until the end of the split.
You know what
So-
caused this? You know what caused this? The Karina hovers. Just saying.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Overs are bad for our health. So you want to know what games are going to be the last day? There you go. Dusty versus Eminem. It is important for Dusty. Bifrost versus Team Singularity. This could be it for
It's a must
Bifrost.
win. It's a must
It is a
win for
must
Bifrost.
win. JDXL versus
Same.
Riddle. Riddle has to win this one to not be the last seed for playoffs. JDXL have to win if they don't want to get kicked into third place. Vanir versus Noriki. They could also make do or die, and at the end, Astralis Talent versus X7. If Astralis wants to show everybody that they're the team that they are, and they keep preaching that they're a really good team, they're one of the top nowadays, they just didn't make playoffs, they have to defeat
You should
X7.
fear a team that has nothing to lose.
I love it. Vados usually say that. Beware of a man who has nothing to lose. This is now a team that has nothing to
This one
lose
has 5 men who have nothing to lose.
and only things to prove. Astralis to the stars. Will they be able to tear down the Kings of the North? I don't know, but that's something that we have to wait and see. On Wednesday, we have the last day of the entire split, week 9, day 2. Don't you dare miss it. It is a pleasure to always have you on the other side of the screen. You're part of the NLC family, and I'll see you soon. Bye.